Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube video. Tonight I'd just like to do a little review of a book I read, a book written by Hulk Hogan about Hulk Hogan's life, and I'd like to go ahead and answer some questions about the book. Here we go.
The first question we want to ask Jess about the book is, you read the first book, Jess, but we were wondering what made you want to read the second book?
Okay, what attracted me to the second book was because of the time period that it came out in Hulk Hogan's life. Um, because Hulk Hogan had been very vocal about having a extremely hard time with his personal life as of late. Um, when he signed on for TNA and became a part of TNA Wrestling, a big focal point was that the book helped him get his life back on track. That he was able to use that book as a way of coming clean and getting everything out of his off his chest that he needed to say. So, from what I understood, that the book was very personal and kind of private in the same matter. And in that sense, I wanted to read the book and find out what he went through, what happened to him. Mostly because the book talked about how he was so close to actually ending his life with suicide.
Did you find any surprises in this book, Jess?
Yes, I did. There were a couple surprises. Uh, First of all, just the fact that Hulk Hogan back in the '80s was doing drugs. He was doing a little cocaine at night because it was so available and it was just always in front of him. He did use cocaine and he also had drank a lot with cocaine, but I said he did a lot of cocaine, but he probably didn't do a lot. He said in the book that it was a controlled amount. He just kind of experimented with it, but he said it drove him crazy. But so he had to get off of it. But that was a big shocker. Not the fact that he did steroids because that was pretty obvious, but he did talk about the steroids, but probably the biggest shock was that he was wanting, he was so close to committing suicide. He had the gun to his head, actually he had the gun in his mouth. Uh, and then some of the other stuff that happened to him before all that tragedy, um, with his family, with his brother, and just the things that were happening with his wife. It was all pretty shocking. There were a lot of shocking things in the book, but the biggest shocker for me was that he actually did cocaine.
Another thing, would you say that this book pretty much revealed a lot about his life, or not?
Yeah, it did. It revealed a lot about his life, especially in recent years with his family, his retired life. Um, After he kind of hung up the wrestling boots, he settled down with his family, and that's when things really hit the fan. Because it all started to fall apart real quick. The cracks in his marriages became completely exposed, and things were going horrible with him and Linda. But it revealed a lot about their personal lives, everything that was going on inside his head as it relates to his wife and his children. It was very revealing.
What would you say is the most interesting part of the book?
Well, the most interesting part of the book for me was just him talking about his the way he envisioned things, the way he envisioned having a perfect family and a loving relationship with his wife, and um, that was the most interesting part because you got to see everything that he wanted. Basically, he spoke from the heart, and he was talking about all of his disappointments and sort of how miserable he was starting to feel because everything was falling apart. It was not the way he wanted it to be, and even though he tried so hard to make everybody happy and to do what was best, it just it all started becoming ruined. And that was the most interesting part, just reading all the drama, the crazy drama that he went through with his wife. But the book, in general, was very interesting.
So you did like the book, and I guess would you recommend it to anybody to read?
Yeah, I sure would. Actually, recommend it to any fan of Hulk Hogan, any fan of professional wrestling, and just people in general that are interested in celebrities, um, sports figures, that sort of thing. But the book is more about his personal life than it is about his career. So, if you're into any stories, real life stories about how relationships go wrong or how anything about family life, then it's a good book for you to read. It does have a happy ending. It's not all doom and gloom. He kind of turns it around at the end, and he gets his life back on track, which is wonderful. And it's inspiring to read about how he was able to completely transform his state of mind and find happiness.
Now that he's found a state of happiness, what do you think is going to happen to Hogan in the future? What's going to become of his life, would you say?
I see good things happening to Hulk Hogan. I think he's got the right idea, the right frame of mind. He's a hard worker and he has good ideas. He surrounds himself with people that care about him, people that look out for him, and he makes pretty good business decisions. He's got a lot of potential left to do things in entertainment, but I see him living a very fulfilling life. And he's got a new girlfriend now. He might settle down with her soon. Who knows? He might even have another child. But think the future looks very bright for Hulk Hogan, and I'm glad.
So basically, we'd like to ask you, how would you rate the book on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best rating? What do you think a rating for a book like this would be, in your opinion?
It's tough to say. It's a pretty hard read because it goes through so much tragedy, really, and it's very repetitive. But if you are a fan of Hulk Hogan, you can. That's how you really appreciate the book. Otherwise, I wouldn't give it a very high rating. But because it is so revealing and very truthful, and it is kind of like a life-changing story about how he changed his life, not necessarily how you can change your life, but it's inspirational. It's motivational. I'd have to give it like 7.5 out of 10.
Thank you, Jesse, on your information about the Hulk Hogan second book. Thank you very much, and everybody have a good evening.